Good morning, everybody. If we have not met, my name is Rick. So glad to meet you. Those that are online, that are in the sanctuary here in the house, don't get too comfortable. We're going to begin with an interactive activity. If you're down in the sanctuary, you're going to do it. You're in the center, you're going to do it. If you're online, you can do this, okay? So here's what you're about to do. And some of you getting ready to get real nervous because we around here, we comfort the afflicted and we afflict the comfortable. Some of you are about to get really uncomfortable, okay? I'm going to ask you to turn to somebody around you, somebody that you did not come with, somebody you do not know very well. And I want you to introduce your name. And then, I want you to tell them about a friend that you met a long, long time ago, maybe as a child, a really good friend, where you met that friend and how you met them. You got it? I'm going to give you about a minute. You may have to move on one line in the sanctuary. Here we go. Count of three. 1, 2, 3, go. Good morning. Okay. All right. Let's kind of wrap that up. I know the extroverts are going, this was awesome. This was so. Introverts are going, please stop. Please make it stop, Pastor. This is terrible. This is terrible. Yeah, I know. I can see the difference of going on in here. I know there are some of you right now that are thinking, Pastor, could we do that the rest of the morning instead of hearing you talk? I mean, that's a whole lot more fun than listening to you and everything like that. I'm sorry, you got to humor me. I'm going to talk a little bit. But I hope you will continue those exhilarating conversations. I can tell how exhilarating they were when worship is over. I'm not asking you to do anything that I'm not willing to do myself. So I want to tell you about a friend that I met. His name was Fred Holyfield. And I met Fred as I was going into the 4th grade when our family had just moved to Gatesville, Texas, in the central Texas. And this Fred became very important to me, a friend that I really needed. I met him at church. And this is before we went to school. I met him. We moved there about 4 weeks before school started. And we were living on the campus of the Gatesville State School for Boys. That's where my dad was the chaplain. There weren't a whole lot of friends for me to make on the Gatesville State School for Boys, opportunities, I would say. So Fred and I hit it off at church, and I met him in Sunday school. It was promotion weekend, too. I got to meet him. We hit it off right off the bat. We just hit it off. I mean, he loved baseball. I loved baseball. He loved girls. I loved girls. It was just perfect, 4th grade. And so school's just kind of started, kind of like it has now. We're in a little bit of school. And we're on the playground, recess time. And this was a small school, so a lot of grades were all together. And so there were older kids. I'm going to guess probably middle school. He looked like a college person to me, but probably middle school kid on the playground as well. And he was kind of the cool kid, one of the cool kids on campus. And he's talking about, he's got this girlfriend. He talked about his girlfriend and whatever. And so I'm listening to him talk. And so I just kind of blurted out, well, I've got a girlfriend. And I think it just came out of my mouth because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be cool like he was and everything. But there was 2 problems with that statement. There were 2 problems. The first problem was I didn't have a girlfriend. I hadn't lived there long enough to have a girlfriend really and whatever. And I wanted one, but I didn't have one, whatever. And the second problem was my friend Fred, he knew it. He knew the truth about that. And I had this elaborate story. I went this elaborate story to this older kid and started telling him about how she and I met right when we moved into town. And it was love at first sight. And I fell in love with her and she fell in love with me. And we started dating. I don't know how you date in the 4th grade, but we were dating in the 4th grade. And then I said, but we started school, man. And I tell you what, there were so many other girls. It was painful, but I just had to break up with her. I just had to break up. And you never forget your first imaginary girlfriend. I'm just saying, you never do. And the thing about that, Fred just stood there and listened the whole time and never said a word. He just, yeah, never said a word. Now, Fred and I stayed friends, and we moved a couple of years later. We moved about every 2 years when I was growing up, and we moved on to Austin. But Fred and I stayed in contact. He would come and stay with us a couple of weeks. I would go and see them sometime for a few days, and back and forth over the years. And one time, Fred and I were talking. We're connecting about baseball and girlfriends and all that sort of stuff in school. And I just asked, I said, Fred, I said, you remember that time back in the fourth grade after we met and whatever, so forth, that? And I told that story and about that. And he said, yeah, I remember. And I said, Fred, why didn't you say something? And he said, well, for one thing, I was your friend. And second, he said, I could just tell how happy she made you, how much you enjoyed her. Fred was a great friend. He always had my back. One of the blessings of being a preacher's kid, as I was back then, we moved every 2 years. And so I learned how to make friends. I could tell you of friends I got all over the state of Texas that I met along the way, all ages, people that I did life with them, people who were with me through thick and thin when I was in the trenches and things were really hard, who had my back, who stuck with me some of the hardest seasons of my life. But I could also tell you about seasons where there really wasn't a friend around, where there was nobody I could really call friend. And in those seasons when that happened, I remember vividly, that was one of the most lonely, feeling isolated times in my life. I felt less loved and less known. I felt more isolated, more kind of off to myself. And as I think back about those experiences, whatever the circumstances were, those were the most painful times in my life, most painful seasons. When I really needed a friend, and I didn't have one. And it's an issue that many of us have been through in our own life. You know, just like I do, some of you know this, there's nothing like a really close friend. I mean a real friend. A friend who knows everything about you, a friend who really knows stuff about you. And they don't leave you. They don't abandon you. Those kind of friends, they transcend all other relationships. It's a bond that you have. And sometimes they even transcend blood. More than marriage sometimes, more than your own kids, more than your parents. I mean, it just goes so deep. Those people, those names, a thread in your life who know the dark stuff about you. They know the hard stuff about you. They know the real stuff about you. And they still stick to you. The Bible talks about it. It's a proverb, Proverbs 18, verse 24. It says, one who has unreliable friends soon comes to ruin. But there is a friend who sticks closer than a brother, who sticks closer than blood, is what that's saying. Now, the opposite is also true. The inverse. When you have somebody in your life that you think is a friend, and you trusted them in that way as a friend, and then something happens and you find out they're not, all of a sudden now you begin to lose trust in all people. You get cynical and or afraid to let your guard down to trust anybody to be your friend. And there's a hurt that you experience that just doesn't quickly go away. That hurt lasts sometimes for a long, long time because it hits you in the depth of your soul. But there's nothing better than a friend who sticks with you in spite of anything and everything that you do, that you say, and what happens in your life. And I'm not talking about this morning about friends that you passed by in the hallway at work and you said, hey, and you called out their name. I'm not talking about young people when you're at school And you see somebody familiar and you give them a high five and you keep on walking and moving. I'm not talking about here at church when you see a familiar person and that you've seen that face wintertime before and you nod and they nod. Okay. I'm not talking about that. And I'm not talking about the people who are so-called friends on social media who say they follow you as your friend. I'm talking about a real, biblical, godly friend. And here's the definition of that in your notes. Number one, if you're taking notes. A friend is someone who knows everything about you and they still delight in you. A friend is somebody who knows the hard stuff. They know the dark stuff. And still they delight in you. And here's the problem. You and I live in a culture. You and I live in a time of the season of this world where those kind of friends becoming less and less and less and less available to us because we're becoming less of that kind of friend for others. In May of 2023, the Surgeon General of the United States of America came out with an 85-page report talking about a new epidemic that's been sweeping across America. It's not alcohol. It's not smoking. It's not type 2 diabetes because of unhealthy lifestyle habits. In your notes, number two, America is suffering, they say, from an epidemic of loneliness and isolation. It's an 85-page report full of research and data. And in November of 2025, Psychology Today put out a report saying that report is just as raging. The truth of that is raging on across America, even more so than ever before. It's not gotten better, and since COVID, and it's just got accelerated. Here's some of just two or three of the trends that you will find if you choose to go back and look at this report. Here's the first one right here. In 1990, 27% of Americans would say, I only have 3 or a few closer friends. So that meant 73% would say, yeah, I got lots of friends. But today, 2022, and today it's even more than 49%, would say, I have 3 or few really close friends. And today, 2026, it's over 50%. Here's another one. Living alone. In 1990, 13% of Americans say they lived alone. They lived literally in isolation. They spent most of their day by themselves. But today, that number is up to 29%. And really, it's all now, more current numbers, it's more like a third of our society literally spends most of their day alone, not having contact with any other kind of human being that's meaningful at all. One more. In the past 20 years, I think in large part because of screens and social media, time spent alone has gone up 20%. Time spent with friends has gone down 60%. There are people who talk about being in the same room with other people, but they're so fixated on their screen and what's going on right before them on this, they're oblivious to the people that are around them. So they would say they in a place of being alone, not being with friends. Here's the conclusion of this report. Here's the overarching conclusion. Number 3, yearly, more and more people are feeling isolated, invisible, and insignificant. Let that sink in, because here's what I know. There's somebody in this room right now who can hear my voice online in the sanctuary. This is you. You don't want to admit it. You don't want to kind of share that, but on the inside, more and more you feel insignificant, isolated, and alone. Maybe you have lots of people in your life. Maybe you're even married. Maybe you have children. Maybe you go to a job. Maybe you just retired. But if you were honest, you would say you feel a little invisible, a little isolated, you feel insignificant. And in this report, these are two of the most common statements they heard people say on this report. I have to shoulder all of life's burdens by myself. Maybe that's somebody like you. You said that yourself. If I disappear tomorrow, no one will even or ever notice. Maybe you've thought that or felt that yourself. This is not just a blip on the radar. This is a pattern that is going on in our nation, and it's happening to every age, every demographic, every social status, every race, every political, whatever you are. It's happened across all generations, young and old. It's an epidemic. And the group that's happening to the most, that's being impacted the most, some of you may think you know, some of you are going to be shocked. It's students. Particularly ages 16 to 24. That particular generation is being called the generation of loneliness, the lonely generation. They spend so much time locked in that little screen that is before them. And they've lost the ability to develop friends around them. Now, here's why this is so important. This is why this matters. Loneliness and isolation is literally killing people. We know, all the facts show, that people who live in isolation and live alone in loneliness situations, they're at increased risk for heart disorder, for stroke, for dementia, for depression, for anxiety, and the probability of premature death goes up as much as if you were smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It is literally being the cause of killing people. And this trend is impacting society as a whole. It's been proven. Parents, students who feel and get stuck in loneliness and isolation do not perform as well in school as students who are engaged socially in friendships. It's been proven. People who go to work, who are not engaged in the company as a whole, their work production performance is lower than the other people around the office. And here's what this means on a macro level, on a large-scale level. You show me community. You show me a nation. You show me neighborhoods and cities. We have a prevalence of people living in isolation and aloneness. It's impacting the larger scale. I'll show you organizations that are losing money and that are struggling to survive. And the cost to our healthcare system is in the billions of dollars. And some of you are paying it out of your own pockets. Now, even more than physically and socially, you can read about that in those two reports in Psychology Today and the Surgeon General's report. In your notes, number 4, loneliness and isolation is killing us spiritually. It's killing people spiritually. Not because that means that God is far away. Two most common promises in the Bible: that God loves you, that He will never leave you. God is right there with you. But even still, so many of you feel like you don't believe that and you feel alone. If you know anything about the Bible, in the opening chapters of the Bible, you have the creation story in Genesis 1 and Genesis 2. And in those stories, God provides you and me everything that we need for life, to thrive. He provides us food, water, safety, shelter, protection. He gives us work, a job to do. He gives us meaning and purpose. And it looks like you have everything that you need. But there's one thing missing. One thing missing. And it's not because you and I say it's missing or we think something's missing. It's because God says it's missing. Genesis 2, verse 18. We'll put it on the screen. God says it is not good for the man. That word man does not mean male. When you read the Hebrew, that is humanity, human beings. It is not good for human beings to be alone. The first problem in the Bible is not sin. The first problem in the Bible is people living in isolation. People living disconnected from meaningful relationships with other people. It's the feeling that you have when you got to put a mask on to pretend to be somebody that you're not because you don't trust the people that you're around. It's the feeling that you have when you have something to celebrate and you have no one to call. It's the feeling that you have when you have a burden that you're having to carry and you have a hard time. It's so heavy and there's nobody you feel comfortable in calling to ask you to help you. It is a crisis in our society. You walk down the hall, you walk down the street, you say hi to someone, they turn and look the other way and ignore you like you've offended them because they spoke to you. And you know what I'm talking about. You get on an elevator, like some disease is going to happen if this person speaks or if you speak. So, for the next 3 weeks, this week including, we're going to be learning what the Bible has to say, and we're calling it the title called Better Together. And with love in my heart, and let me put it, with love in my heart, and a true friend speaks to you in love, the truth, I'm going to be calling some of you out a little bit. Because there are some of you, I see the words coming out of your mouth, but I don't see you doing anything about it. On the inside, you would say, you know, I feel isolated, I feel lonely, I feel invisible, I feel insignificant, all those things, and you just kind of getting stuck in victim mode, and you just think it's all going to work out, but you're not doing anything about it at all. And so what we're going to work on here in the coming weeks is what are you going to do? Because there are some of you, I know you know how to work because you're building a resume. I know how you know how to work. You're working on your 401k. I know you know how to do stuff. You're going to school. You're going to college. You're pursuing your goals. You got all these things you're doing, but you're not doing anything in this arena at all. You just think, well, they're going to come back around. And I'm telling you, it's jeopardizing your well-being. And I know what some of you are thinking, oh, Pastor, I don't know where to start. I really don't know where to start, how to make new friends. I don't go to school anymore, so I don't have a job. I don't have a workplace I go to. I don't know where to start. And let me say this while I'm talking on this subject. It is not enough just to come to church and feel connected. You can go to the best church weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend. You can hear the best sermons weekend after weekend after weekend after weekend, and you're not going to grow spiritually just sitting there and listening. You're not in your nose. You can't grow spiritually without being encouraging and supported relationally. It's called being discipled. It's called having someone speaking into your life to help you grow, to help you learn, in an interactive relationship. Moses had Aaron, David had Jonathan, Ruth had Naomi, Paul had Silas, Titus, and Timothy, and more. You need those people in your life. Every summer, I take some time to have what I want to call an extended Sabbath. Sabbath is where I get away from people, from family, from office, from staff. I get away from technology, from my computer, my phone, and I go and just spend time with God. And I do it for extended period of times in most summers. And while I'm doing that, I'm reading, I'm asking God questions, I'm praying, I'm saying, God, tell me what's next for the church. I need you to speak. God, tell me what's next for the church. God, we got this message series that needs to happen toward the end of the summer, which I was doing on this particular summer. God, I need you to speak about this. You know, what's all these sort of things. And I have my journal and my pen, and I'm writing down whatever I hear God say. So this past summer, I'm doing that. And I got my phone off, and I got my phone upside down right there, and my computers. I don't have my computer with me, and I just have my Bible and pen in my journal. And so I'm walking through the Gospels. I start reading through the Gospel of Matthew. I'm going, God, give me a spiritual revelation. Tell me what you need me to hear. I'll read all of Matthew, nothing. I go to the Gospel of Mark, and I read all the Gospel of Mark, and I read all the Gospel of Mark, and I get to the end of it, and there's nothing. I get to the end of Luke, and the exact same thing, and I'm thinking, hey, God, you got to speak. You got to show up. You got to do something. We're about to run out of time right here. I got more Bible, but you said the Gospel. You told me to read the Gospels. We're about at the end. So I'm reading through the Gospel of God. I get to John chapter 15. John chapter 15. And when I get to John chapter 15, I had this impression to look up, and there's my phone right there on the desk, off, face down, just like that. And I sensed God say to me, Rick, I want you to pick up your phone and text a friend. I said, God, that's not what I'm here for. Didn't you hear me? I'm off technology. My computer's put away. I'm not here to talk to anybody else. I am here to get a spiritual truth revelation from you. I sensed God say, pick up your phone and text a friend. And I said, no, God. And I went, oh, that's the spiritual truth. That's the spiritual revelation. That's what you want me to do. So I picked up my phone, I turned it on, and I texted some friends. That became a very meaningful experience, and God was speaking to me a very important truth in your notes, number 6. If you want to grow spiritually, you have to invest relationally. It can't just be if I have time. It can't be I'll just hope it'll work itself out. And I'm going to guess your life is like mine. I bet I'm not the only one. My life is planned out from the morning I go wake up till what time I lay down at night. I am running. I am hurrying. I got noise in my ear. I got people asking for me. I got people calling me. I got meetings. I got emails. I got folks want me to do this. I have family want me to do this, need me to do that, and I want to do it all. And I want to do it. And so I just don't have time. Have you ever said that? I don't have the time to invest in those sort of friendships. And you just think they're going to pop up and be there. You think, well, I don't need to send that text, you think. I don't have time to make that call, you think. I don't have time to invest real time in that person, you think. And that is exactly why, for the next 3 weeks, and this week included, we're going to be talking about the importance of having meaningful friendships in your life. And the goal is not going to be for you to sit there and listen to me talk about abstract ideas about friendship. That's not the goal. For you to sit there and take notes and go home and stick them in your Bible and go, man, I went to church today. That's not the goal. The goal is to learn what the Bible has to say about true, meaningful relationships and friendships, and then you and me to act, to do something about it, to exert the time and the effort to have the friends that we know that we need. So you're going to hear a lot about things. You're going to heard a lot about this thing called small groups. Small groups are people who meet together. They come to know each other. They read the Bible together. They pray together. They eat together. They laugh together. They suffer together. They carry pain together. I mean, just the meaning of just meeting with 2 or 3 people and just kind of developing deep life knowledge of each other together. Are you not aware of this? But every week we write a small group lesson that's 1 page, very simple. We just had about 5 or 6 questions on it for all of our small groups. You can do that yourself. You don't have to be a part of one of our small groups. If you want, gather 3 or 4 people together, just friends of yours, and that's my hope by Labor Day, that everybody will do this in the fall and with our series, what it's going to be. That you'll get 3 or 4 people with you, maybe your spouse and a friend and a neighbor, and you'll just sit down, take 45 minutes, and work your way down those questions. And when you do that together, when you dig in the Word together and wrestle with those questions from the weekend message, you're going to grow. But you got to do something about it or it's not going to happen. You got to invest relationally. You're going to hear about small groups around here. You're going to hear about serving teams. Oh, no. Here comes serving teams. No, it's not what you think. I don't want you to be on a serving team so we can get something out of you. I don't want you to be in a serving team so God can do something through you. I want you to be a serving team. There's something that happens when you work shoulder to shoulder by someone. I mean, you're side by side and you're working, two people on something together, and you get it accomplished for the goodness of God. There's a bond that happens, a friendship that happens that does not happen when you're sitting across a table or just sitting in worship and talking to somebody like this. I've got friends in this church that I have done ministry with, that we have plowed through things together and figured stuff out and solved problems together and seen God do amazing things together. And I'll promise you this, if I go 20 years and not see them, and the next time I see them, it'll be instant connection, because there's a bond that's created when you serve together side by side. And so you're going to learn about how you can do that if you want to. You're going to hear a whole lot about that. And here's why this is so important. And I'm about to share with you something that's not rocket science. You know one of the things I hear around here all the time? Pastor, I just want to go deeper. Pastor, I just want to go deeper. I just got to have those big, deep theological words. Okay, but I'm going to say this. Why would we do that when you don't do the simple things that God's asking you to do? I mean, we are educated way above our level of obedience. Just start doing the little things that He asks you to do and see what happens. And then all of a sudden, you can go deeper. But you got to learn how to do the very basics. So I'm going to give you something that's very rocket science. It's not rocket science. I'm telling you, it's going to be so simple, but some of you aren't doing it. So here it is. Number 7, developing friendships that stick will take time and effort. Isn't that deep? Isn't that deep? Here's what I know. You don't do it. You don't do it. So I'm going to help you right now. Everybody, you hear my voice right now. Wherever you're in the building or online, take out your phones right now. Whoop, I'm watching the time. We got to bring this message to an end right now. We're going to do it. But we're going to do this first. Band, y'all get ready to come out. Y'all get ready to come out, band, wherever you are, okay? Here's what you're going to do. I want you to open up your phone. I want you to text a friend right now. Right now. It's going to be a holy text. Text a friend right now. I'm going to give you the time. Just text them and say, hey, thinking about you. I'd like to get coffee with you next week. Just do something like that and see what happens. Just do it, okay? We're going to hear the phones dinging in the room. All right? That's okay. That's a holy text. Man, I missed you. Just, boom. A little time and effort right now. I hear phones going off. It's okay. I got one myself. Thank you. I got one myself. That's why I'm doing that, tell you the truth. You may want my number so you can text me right now. It's going to require time and effort. This week on your phone, you got to do something. I don't have time to put the QR codes up here. On your app this week, there's going to be classes that are coming up. There's one that starts this Tuesday. You heard Jeff talk about it. We got another class, spiritually, emotionally, discipleship, coming up starting in a week on the 30th. We got a small group class opportunity, a gathering coming up you can be a part of. I'm asking you to do more than come and sit, but get connected somewhere in the life of the church so you can develop real friends. And here's why. Satisfying close relationships are what keep people happy and healthy. All the research shows it. But even more so, that's what Jesus teaches. If you don't believe me, look at the life of Jesus. He could have had crowds and fans and followers, but instead, He picked 12 people. And He did life with 12 people. And we know about them in the Bible. Why? Because they were His friends and He loved them. In fact, He had 3 of them that were His really close friends, Peter, James, and John. You know that Jesus had close friends? 3 guys. Talks about it more than And so I got a question for you. If Jesus needed close friends, Why do you think you don't? Do you think? In fact, this summer, when I got that kind of thing to pick up my phone, call a friend, I was reading this verse right here. He says, I no longer call you servants, John 15:15, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I've called you friends. For everything I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. Jesus is not trying to remind us here that we need good friends. You do. He is saying, I'm that friend. That's the last thing. Jesus is a friend that sticks. Jesus is a friend that knows everything about you, and he delights in you. He's a friend that wants to have a conversation with you because he delights in you. He knows everything. He knows everything. And he still delights in you. He says, you're not my servant. You're my friend. I want to go to Sonic with you. I want to sit down and watch a show with you. I want to go to the movie. I want to go on a date with you. I want to hang out with you when you're working out. When you're sitting there in the car by yourself, I just want to sit there with you because I'm your friend. May I ask you, do you have Jesus as your friend? Church, we're about to do something. We're going to sing a song, What a Friend We Have in Jesus. And here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Because we got some folks in this room that are not sure. Last weekend, we talked about worship. That worship is your response. What God has done in your life. And if he is your friend, I want you to sing this song so the people around you who are not sure might think about making Jesus their friend. So stand with us and let's sing it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
You don't need a savior if you don't know sin and shame. You don't need forgiveness when you've never walked away. But this is my story. I'm a life made new. I'm the one who's been set free. Oh, I have found a friend in Jesus. He is everything to me. I have found a friend in Jesus. Yes, he is my everything. And I have a shepherd who always keeps me safe. And I found a healer who knows my every pain. But this is my story of redeeming love. I've come to know him well. Oh, I have found a friend in Jesus. He is everything to me. I have found a friend in Jesus. Yes, he is my everything. Oh, I have found a friend in Jesus. He is everything to me. I have found a friend in Jesus. Yes, he is my everything.
He walks with me, and he talks with me, and he tells me I am his own. The joy we share, what else compares? It's like nothing I've ever known. Oh, when he walks with me, he talks with me, he tells me I am his own.
Yes, I am.
The joy we share, what else compares? It's like nothing I've ever known. And I can't believe it. Oh, I can't believe it. I have found a friend in Jesus. He is everything to me. I have found a friend in Jesus. Yes, he is
for a moment. If there's anybody in this room right now, in the building, hear my voice. Don't you leave here this morning feeling lonely. We're going to bring our prayer team up here to the sides. We're going to be up here on the sides, and when the building exits, these folks with purple stoles, if you're alone, you feel isolated, that's you. You feel like you bear the world on your shoulders and you're alone. You feel like nobody would notice. Please, 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 please do not leave without having someone pray over you. Please do not leave without just turning to someone and having a meaningful connection with someone. And maybe you're here this morning and you never said yes to Jesus as your friend. He's been nothing but a rule keeper. He's some religious concept and idea. But while we sang that song, you felt your heart kind of trembling. Oh my goodness, is he my friend? That's the Holy Spirit nudging you to open your hand and just take the hand of Jesus and say, yes, yes, I want you to be my friend. Church, that's all you got to do. He already took care of everything on the cross. You're forgiven. The slate's been clean. All you have to do is say yes. And if that's you, please stop and let me know. Stop at Next Steps. Learn about small groups. Learn about how you can be connected to the church to make those friends. Don't you leave here without exerting some effort and some time. God, we thank you. We thank you for wanting to be our friend. In the name of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.